I think it would be interesting if it turned out that like they're not brainwashed in like some magical way, but like it's in terms of like ideology or something.
Like, yeah, Eric Myers, the Quantum Ranger, he he didn't like the he sort of like I don't know. I guess he wasn't smart because like he didn't associate like just because you're rich, you're not necessarily always evil, but
Hmm.
like he had this divide with the original Red Ranger because
Hmm.
they both had different backgrounds, so he couldn't empathize with him being a rich guy since he came from a poor background.
Were they fighting each other or what?
They
Or was it
they
just
w-
them not
they,
getting along?
they just didn't get along.
Well, just not getting along is just like class, just like cultural differences, you know.
Well,
It's not
he didn't even
necessarily
want
like.
to work with him was the thing.
Oh. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, in terms of well, I mean, like, how about in terms of media though? Like,
Oh, media.
how's the media doing, contributing to this discussion about like this multi-dimensional aspect to like the enemies and violence and stuff like that? How do you feel about that? Is it progressing? Are we becoming more modern and like moving past like these kind of like mono-dimensional stories since like World War II propaganda on both sides? You know, like and not only did the Nazis do it, but also America did it with their own like military propaganda. I heard that Disney did like war propaganda films like Victory Through Air Power. I don't actually know anything about them, but like yeah,
Is this just Power Rangers now, or is this everything?
everything and Power Rangers.
I can't think of a Power Rangers example yet, but I'm thinking about Transformers and
Hmm.
how.
So you're
Like,
saying Power Rangers isn't progressing to that level yet?
I'm saying that, well, as I said before, with like, the Juggling and the Power Rangers RPMs of
Hmm.
Power Rangers, like that was very interesting.
Hmm.
And I feel like Kamen Rider
Hmm.
always tries to make, almost as an exception. It's always
Hmm.
an exception because like you always want to have different types of stories and stuff.
At least for the entertainment value to create
Right.
variation, you know?
But yeah, um, I think Toei has done a good job. I'm not so sure about the Saban side.
Mm.
It's hard to tell because like it really doesn't. Uh, Getting into the quality of the post Disney Saban era like is very touchy and very health.
Retouchy, you said?
I don't know if it's touchy.
To you, maybe to you, I guess
Very
it
touchy
is.
to me. Yeah, it's like because it's not very good quality work in general, so it's hard to get into.
Yeah.
But
A lot of that has, I think, okay, to say something here,
yeah,
I think a lot of this has to do with like core demographics and age groups.
yeah,
I remember reading a book about Chinese children's literature,
okay,
and they talked about like at different ages,
yeah,
there's different kinds of stories that I don't know if like this is like the kind of stories that like children are able to comprehend or just like kind of stories that they're just targeting to make.
okay,
But at different age groups, there's like different kinds of stories that are either like children are able to comprehend or like people try to make. So like early age groups are like very optimistic stories, happy stories, like 0 to 2 years old or something. And then 2 to 6 is like maybe like funny stories with animals that like have some sort of minor moral message that like a tortoise in the hare and stuff like that. And then 6 to 10 they get a little more mature. They have like more like stories involving violence, like Hans Christian Andersen kind of stories and stuff like that. And then like 12 to like 10 through like like early preteens and like teens is like much more like sophisticated stuff, like maybe like some religious contexts and stuff like that. So like yeah, I think for like Power Rangers with like Saban era and stuff,
yeah,
they're targeting like this Nickelodeon generation of kids. So like preteens to like younger children and stuff like that
right.
with their programming blocks and
What's your opinion about Noah Ringer,
I don't know.
Ringer being cast as Aang for The Last Airbender?
I don't know. I don't think he was a good actor.
Okay,
But I
no,
didn't see the whole movie.
okay,
But yeah, why?
because you know what? Jaden's last name in Power Rangers Samurai is?
What?
Shiba. He's part of the Shiba clan.
Why? So why do you bring that up? Are you
Because
saying like this whitewashing?
pretty much, like, it's very awkward whitewashing. Well, they don't give him an American name, yet they give him a Japanese name, but he doesn't have any Japanese ties.
Hmm.
So it's very awkward. And it seems, I don't know if it's a pro-American thing or something, but it just seems very weird.
There is definitely a strong Japanese-American relationship that's been formed in the 20th century. That as like this kind of political move for America to get a foothold in Asia through economic power and media and culture. I'll definitely say that.
Yeah.
Like America has been trying to like box in China with like their political allies in Japan, and like there's definitely like this kind of like free exchange between like the media between the two countries, and like this positive perception between the two countries for economic reasons and political reasons. So maybe that's part of that, or maybe I'm overanalyzing it, or
Yeah,
but, like there is definitely that aspect to like
I don't want to get
to that and Power Rangers in general. But,
yeah, I don't want to get too into it, but I definitely wonder if toys, with some of their media at least,
mhm.
have been, cautious regarding the Japanese government and their attempts to seize land from the Chinese and
Oh, man,
whatever
okay.
militaristic
Okay, this is like
powers they have.
this is
What are you talking
this
about?
is tough.
Mono.
This is tough talk. This is tough talk.
Very tough talk, yeah.
Of course, our opinions don't represent like end all be all.
Saban,
We're just
Toei.
and this is all off the top of our heads. We might be saying completely shit, like, but like, yeah, like, don't take us too seriously when we say like this kind of stuff, like.
Yeah.
And we don't have like degrees in like political science and like political
We
relations.
didn't go to Harvard.
Yeah, so yeah,
Obama wasn't my buddy. Fist bump.
yeah, yeah. So yeah.
Violence in media.
So
The mono.
is it okay? Is it bad? Is monoculture violence in media bad? I think we've been implying that this whole time by saying like, oh, all this multi-dimensional stuff is good. All this
Yeah.
more depth is good. All these stories are good. But like, I think that the implication there is that like this mono stuff is like bad and like possibly a relic of like old school nationalism and
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Now it's a more global society. We're more multicultural. Like they have like halal carts in Washington D.C. and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean by that? Like,
Yeah,
like we're more accepting of other cultures, regardless of like.
I hope so at least.
Hopefully we're moving towards that, and hopefully we're doing that in the media too.
Yeah.
I think like movie like even Avatar, even though I don't like the story, like even Avatar, like seeing the big box office of that like shows like this kind of like multicultural acceptance and like how they portray like the humans who are mostly whites, I guess. They're military gung ho or like as the bad guys, like, and like the tribal people as the good guys. I feel like even that's like this part of like this multicultural world culture narrative that's been progressing over the years.
I don't know. I still think a lot of people are a bit dumb, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to say something controversial and say that a lot of people would feel terrible if there's a Muslim character in Power Rangers, or if there's a character that read the Quran or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
there's a lot
I think
of
yeah, I
bad
think
poor
Japan-
education in the U.S.
Yeah, I think Japanese are probably more acceptable in
It's
mainstream culture
Muslims
than
growing
like Muslim,
more
right?
in the U.S. and they're more
Yeah.
liberal. Like,
Yeah. I had a thought the other day that like right now like Jewish Americans are so ingrained that we could have a show like Seinfeld would be really big. Like
Yeah.
I feel like one day I'd like to see the day where like we'd have like Muslim version of Seinfeld in America hit it big. Like I feel like we're really far away from that. Like the mere fact that I think that like we're far away from that is like a weird idea to me. But like I hope we can reach that point where we could have something like that.
you never know. They have the Shahs on Bravo.
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
That reality show
Yeah.
with the family.
yeah.
They also have
Kumar's at number 42. Well, that's UK. And that's like South Asian. That's not even Middle East. Like
Yeah. Also, Muslim is, what do you call the religion? Muslim?
Islam.
Islam is the highest growing religion in the U.S. In the world now.
In the world, yes, but not in the U.S.
Maybe not, but
Fastest percentage growing year over year. You mean?
yeah, like
Hmm.
business-wise, like the corporations can't ignore it.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you gotta make money off that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We live in a capitalist world.
Yeah. Yeah. Now more and more people are moving to the U.S., so we have to embrace that.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's not like we turn them down. We don't let them not go to the U.S.
hopefully, hopefully.
Well, there's probably issues, but
Yeah, and yeah, there's probably also some stuff that goes with that.
this is a comic book I read that was written in 2008 called Arab in America that has a lot of issues. I'm hoping after the Obama administration it got better, but I can't say for a fact. But a lot of stuff went wrong during the Iraq War and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like and even like the media, like CNN, still like often shows images of like these kind of like really extreme Islamists on television. At least before, I don't know now, like where there'd be like somebody like yelling and screaming like crazy, but like there's not a lot there wasn't as much portrayal of like people in the Middle East as like human, like people just get along and like just like are able to go to a restaurant and have a nice chat and like just talk reasonably. Like hopefully we'll have more of that. I think Jon Stewart was on the comedy equivalent, news program equivalent of the Daily Show in Egypt at some point. So yeah, I hope we have more of that kind of stuff going on.
I mean, the interesting thing about Power Rangers is that, like, I mean, Haim Saban actually does do stuff with the Israeli talks with the Palestinians. I don't know how they go.
Yeah.
And the other stuff is that he does hire people with, nationalities from Arab worlds. Like, I think, what's her name? The white alien ranger. I think she was from Syria, but I'm not sure. And the Phantom Ranger's first name is actually Ali.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like that supports the idea of tolerance within Power Rangers. Like that's
Yeah,
sort of the idea with the
Power
original
Rangers
five.
Power Rangers was always a multicultural cast, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
And part of like the '90s optimistic kind of like world culture, like along with Captain Planet and all that.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about
We've been
that.
progressing towards that in children's media.
Right.
But I don't know, maybe we've had a bit of a regression with like more recent Power Rangers, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Because maybe we're kind of scared to do that kind of stuff now. It's like, and like, I'd like to see Star Trek with like a Muslim character on it. Or like
Bashir
something like
was
that.
actually Muslim.
Bashir? Really?
His name was Bashir.
Hmm.
I mean, he didn't celebrate it.
As in, yeah.
They don't really.
They don't really portray
celebrate
religion
Not.
in
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think it's supposed to be like this post-religious society in Star Trek.
Yeah, pretty much. Other than the what do you call them? The Bajorans.
Yeah. But like Star Trek at the time in the '60s was originally like hailed for like having a regular cast member that was a female black actress and
Yeah.
all that at the time. So I think they
a
need
Japanese American.
and a Japanese American. I think they really gotta keep pushing it, and I'd like to see like more like the next show that's like that actually has that kind of like
Yeah, I felt like
story.
JJ
Casting.
didn't really push much.
Yeah, he seems to be like a regression along with like Michael Bay and stuff towards like more traditional like he's regressions of like this post.
Yeah, I have two things to say about
Okay,
that. Actually.
I think we gotta finish soon though. Like I think we've been dragging out this ending soon. Though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. J.J. Abrams, like I sort of felt the Klingons like were unupdated from like their previous ties because like before they were like
that's kind of terrible, isn't it?
yeah before they were like the enemies of the Federation. But later on you had like Michael Dorn who was like this phenomenal actor portraying one of the most memorable characters in Star Trek. I felt like they've turn turn the Klingons into this mindless enemy in the Star Trek films. That I don't know how they're gonna make another Michael Dorn-ish character
In which ones?
in Next
the
Generation.
J.J. Abrams ones?
In the J.J. Abrams ones.
Really? They did that?
Yeah.
Man.
They were just these like mindless.
I don't like. For that reason, I don't like J.J. Abrams' kind of sensibilities.
Right. And I felt like when I originally watched Transformers, I was young and I didn't know better. Like I was like, oh, these
Yeah.
are the Marines like trying to save
Yeah.
the world, help
Yeah.
help Shia LaBeouf save the world from the Decepticons, and they
Yeah.
were cool because they're
Yeah.
helping the Autobots and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a bit more propagandish too.
Yeah. And I also don't like the game Bro Force.
What's that?
It's a game where you play as military commandos in like some third world country, which is jungly, which is probably implying Vietnam,
Vietnam.
which has like and Contras, which is like I think is completely outdated and like it's like completely like over machismo. Like I hate it. Like
Contra?
yeah, no,
Bro Force.
Bro
Well,
Force
Contra.
is like a throwback to I think Contra is like something
You just
can't
want
blame
aliens
it.
in
You
Contra,
can't,
right?
you can't blame it for like being it's sort of coding like codifying like Vietnam and like stuff like that. I don't
Oh,
like
really?
it. Like it's like it's like this subtle throwback to like fighting in Vietnam in the Congo or something like that. Like I don't like it. But yeah, Broforce I feel like is something that we shouldn't have in this day and age.
Okay.
Like I don't like it at all. Anyway, I just want to throw that in there. Okay. Yeah, I hope we move more towards multiculturalism and multidimensional awareness of like things in our violent media and like portray violence as not this monodimensional like good versus evil story anymore. Like,
Right.
that's what I say. And I think it's a bad, toxic effect on society to like just encourage violence as like I'm the good guy, you're the bad guy. This kind of like I'm superior to you, I'm okay, you're not okay kind of like dimension in the world. Like I feel like that's very like xenophobic and
I just
yeah.
find it as lazy storytelling.
and his lazy storytelling is it's not as interesting. It's old fashioned. It's
Yeah.
outdated. It's boring too,
Yeah.
and it's less realistic.
Yeah, like, I mean, you don't have to make everything realistic, but
Yeah.
you need, like,
Yeah.
make everything make sense.
Yeah, and sort of speak to this generation's kind of sensibilities.
Right.
Like the millennials are becoming more and more worldly and like understanding people of other cultures and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I gotta say. Okay.
So,
That's it.
check out Toku Eastern Heroes Out.
Alright, yeah,
Fair PhD Art House Converter here.
Alright, yeah, check him out.
Thanks.
I'm his brother. That's it.